Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Great Summer Cookout Series. And today we are going to be doing a chimichurri sauce. And I'll be talking about how to grill steaks and some chicken and veg as we go along as well today. So this is our second part to our series. We have one more and we look forward to that next week. So let's get started with our chimichurri sauce. So you may be like, what the heck's a chimichurri sauce? Because a lot of people don't know. I was introduced to it a couple of years ago, actually. I love it. It's a sauce that it's a lot of South American dishes include a chimichurri sauce with grilled meats. You can also include it with your fishes, shellfish, amazing on grilled shrimp. It is so nice to accompany grilled meats. It's probably my favorite way to have it is on a steak. So that's why I've included a flank steak today. That's what you can see here. I've also grilled some chicken breasts, also so nice on that. It can be used as a marinade as well. So it makes quite a bit, this recipe, but the beauty of this is that you get to keep it in your fridge and you can use it as a marinade or a sauce for later for the same things as just mentioned. Lots of people use it for salad dressings. You can also freeze this recipe. So you can put it into ice cube trays and you can pop out one block at a time as you need if you are a person that maybe is eating for one when you do eat. If you're eating for more, this may be the perfect recipe for you to do a batch of chicken, or it's a great way to have friends over and enjoy food together. So let's get started on our chimichurri sauce. So the basis of our chimichurri sauce is parsley. So there's a lot of variance when it comes to this recipe. Depends on the area and country that people that make it. So this one is an authentic Argentinian chimichurri sauce. So it says authentic, so I'm hoping it's authentic. But there's so many different various ways to make it. So let's get started with our way today, which again is apparently an Argentinian classic. So we're going to start with chopped parsley. So a few tips here. You can use a food processor, but the beauty of this is that it's a rough dice chop dressing. So you kind of want it to be rough and diced. So when you use a food processor, what happens is you start to get a lot of the colors melt together. Things get too finely chopped if you're not careful. So I don't like to use it for this recipe. So when I'm using fresh herbs, I like to twist them up in a ball. It actually kind of releases flavor anyways. I twist them up and I make them nice and tight in their leaves. Much easier to chop, especially if we're going for a fine chop. So we're gonna go in. I am using some of the stem. I'm not afraid to use the stems. So you will find what I'll do is I'll then, once I've gotten down to a wee bit of the stem, so I kind of remove that part and then I set it aside. I also twist off a bit. You probably saw me doing that to start. And then we're looking for about half a cup. So then I again, kind of make a ball here with my fingers and do another nice rough chop, being mindful of fingers here. So again, we're looking for half a cup of fresh parsley here for this recipe. And you want it to be, like I said, a nice, I would say the parsley would be a chop. I wouldn't go for a dice here, which is a smaller chop or a smaller cut. I would just go for like a nice rough chop here. And I'm gonna eyeball this part because there's no point in me dumping it in here. And a lot of this stuff is very eyeball. Make it to your own preference. I always say that, especially when cooking, especially things like this. I mean, it's not baking, right? It doesn't need to be precise. So I just grab away. I like lots of green. And, you know, as I mentioned, the green, like I was talking about these summer cookouts and easy ways to freshen up classics. So like a steak, right? I mean, who doesn't love a steak? And a lot of people are like, why would you even add anything to a steak? Oh, but I prefer a flank steak. So a flank steak is, or skirt steak is another name that it has. I like it because it's a leaner cut of beef. So a lot of people think that that would mean that it's a tough cut, that it wouldn't be, as melt in your mouth as some other cuts of beef when you grill a steak. But this is my absolute favorite way to eat a steak and beef. And I don't eat beef very often, but when I do, it's my favorite. So again, it's a flank or skirt steak, and you cut against the grain, and we'll get there near the end, and I'll show you how to do that. And it comes out perfect. I love it. I think it's a perfect way to enjoy chimichurri too. It's my favorite thing. It brightens it. That's what this does. This sauce is so flavorful, but it brightens it with all these yummy flavors and colors. We've got purples and reds. We are going to use a super hot chili too in this. So if you like spice, this is the recipe for you. I've got here our parsley that's all chopped. And next we're going to go in and we're going to add some garlic. So nice fresh garlic. All these things, you'll hear me all the time saying fresh, fresh, fresh. I know that it's hard, especially as students, if we're working or if we're living on our own, and you know, it's easy to buy that little jar that has the already minced garlic, but there's a huge difference. That was me this is fresh garlic, and I use the end of my knife to help get all the skin off. So if you just smash down the garlic, it peels off nice and you don't have to sit there and peel it. A lot of people find garlic very finicky because it's sticky and because a lot of people don't like the smell on their fingers too. But I absolutely love garlic. And so this recipe calls for 3 to 4 cloves of finely diced garlic. So you don't want to get big chunks of fresh garlic in this recipe in your mouth. I don't like it because it's raw, right? You're going to be eating this raw. You really, when you're working with raw garlic like this and it's not going to be cooked, then you really want to make sure that you get a nice fine dice going when you chop up your garlic. So that's what we're going for today. Sorry guys, I'm getting tornado warnings to my area. So, you know, if you see me running, running downstairs, then you'll know why. Sorry about that. That's only the third one and it doesn't look so bad outside. So anyway, bear with me if you hear that again. Nothing I can do to turn that off. So we are chopping or finely dicing here our garlic. So it is a lot of garlic. I like to run my finger down my knife as well to make sure that I'm getting all the chunks, because again, garlic is sticky to work with, but it's worth it. It's so flavorful. Like all these things that we're adding today is a huge abundance of flavors. So let's go ahead and add in that finely diced garlic that we just did. And I'm going to end up doing everything else with totally sticky hands now, but that's okay. Now, next up, we are going to add our chilies. Okay, so I've made this with your dried chilies that you can buy just like in your pack like this. So they're the pepper chili flakes, or you can go for these bad boys. So anything spicy. I mean, you can use a jalapeno if you want. I think part of it is the red color. I'm all about the colors too in my food. It's all about, you know, it's not just about eating with your mouth, it's about eating with your eyes for me. So red, love that it adds that color to it. So it adds more of a brightness than your chili flakes, plus much more spice. So it's a fresh, these ones are Thai chilies, and they are these guys. I'm not even gonna touch the skin because they are hot, okay? Super hot. Be careful if you are using these. I've already chopped mine up because then I washed my hands, washed the board, washed the knife thoroughly because I have, of course, who hasn't had if you're working with chilies, one of those, oh my goodness, I touched, you know, I scratched my eye or something, or I had my finger near my mouth, and you'll feel it, let me tell you. So my suggestion, more heat, leave the seeds in the membrane, which is just the white piece of the inside of a pepper, same like a red pepper or a bell pepper, green pepper. When you see the white membrane on the inside, if you remove that from these little guys, you get less heat. Take out the seeds, less heat. So if you're just chopping up the red portions of this, less heat. So I did 2 there. That was 2 of those chilies. And I did remove the seeds and membrane on those ones. So that was mine. Now we're gonna add in some dried oregano. You can add fresh, so this is where some of the recipes, you know, kind of vary. You can have fresh oregano. I'm okay with the dry. This recipe calls for dry, and it's 3/4 of a teaspoon. That's what we're adding in here of dried oregano. I love food, can you tell? Okay. Oregano, salt and pepper. So we're gonna go in with some salt. And this asks for a teaspoon. Why is it not coming out? There we go. A teaspoon of salt, which sounds like a lot, but it brings out all the flavors. And then pepper to taste. So, I mean, you're not adding pepper for the spice here, you're adding pepper for the flavor of black pepper. So put it into your own taste. And then finally, we're gonna add in our two kind of, I guess, what you would call wet ingredients. So we're gonna start off with our olive oil, and we're gonna go in with half a cup. So I've got this is a liquid measuring cup, just so everybody knows. These are the best ones to get your liquids with. We're gonna go in with half a cup. They're made for liquids, so you'll actually get more precise. Again, I don't do it with these guys when I'm not showing other people how to make things. And then this is red wine vinegar, just so that everybody knows. And we are going in, oh, we don't need that. We need our tablespoon. We don't need as much. So this is really, there's not much to substitute here for this vinegar, except if you want to substitute anything, it will be for a lemon. So this is gonna be our acid, right? But honestly, it just doesn't taste the same. And it says that in the recipe too. It just does not taste the same without the red wine vinegar. That's the part about this recipe that is so, so nice. Sorry, guys. I don't know why that's ringing away, but it is. Even though I've turned it off and put notifications on hold. So if you want here, I still like to add a wee bit of lemon because I just find lemon, a fresh lemon, just jazzes up everything. It adds, again, that brightness, a fresh, and that's what this sauce is. It's just super, super fresh. So I take out my seeds here and I do a little splash. You can incorporate this in way of substituting your lemon juice for the vinegar, but I suggest for this recipe, again, for it to stay authentically Argentinian, I would stick to what I'm teaching you here. So we went in with our fresh lemon there. And that's our sauce. That is our chimichurri. Now, you can leave this in the refrigerator after mixing it up. I'm gonna add in a wee bit more olive oil, to be honest with you. I don't think that was enough. I think I put a bit too much parsley when I eyeballed it. So because I did that, yeah, that's a good one. There we go. We're getting that nice olive oil. And I'm gonna add another splash of this just because, see, it's all to taste. I like things when there's vinegar, bring on the vinegar. If there's an oil and vinegar, anything, bring on the vinegar. So I like that tart kind of flavor. This is so pretty, you guys. I hope that you can see this. And now you can leave this in the fridge. Kind of what you're looking for is for the flavors, the garlic and the peppers, salt and pepper too, to meld into the oil. That's what you really want. That's when this will become its most flavorful. At 2 to 4 hours in the refrigerator would be awesome. And you can leave it in the refrigerator for 24 hours, no problem. And as I mentioned, you can stick it in your freezer as well in cubes so that you can use it later on. So I'm gonna move this and I'm going to bring this over to you so that you can see. This is what we should look like. This beautiful, it's oily, it's thick, it's rough, and I really do hope that you can see. It is a beautiful side dish, again, for grilled meats. It's my favorite. So let's get to our grilled meats. So again, I've already talked to you about our flank steak here, but let's chop it up and see what we got. And I'll show you how we can plate this super nice as well. So if you have people over, what I've done here is I've just done veggie kebabs, really. And my favorite veg to throw on a stick and onto the grill are zucchini, purple onion. It's nice and sweet. And once you get them with that char on a barbecue, it's amazing. Some mushrooms I like on there as well, and zucchini and peppers, bell peppers. I like them because of the color. So you can see on here. So we've got our oranges, it adds our reds. If there were yellow peppers, I would have thrown the yellow on there as well. Love all the colors. I'm just not crazy about green peppers. So I just find they're a little too bitter for me. And I get the bitterness from other veggies. So I would rather just use my reds, yellows, and oranges. And that's what I've done here. And I've left them on a stick. I've just used a marinade for both of these, was really just olive oil, chopped fresh garlic, salt and pepper, and parsley. It was dried parsley this time, and I just brushed them all with it before I threw it on the barbecue. So that's all I've done for this prep. Now let's get to the steak. As I said, we're looking for the grain, and we're gonna cut against the grain. So I've got this big giant, like I thought this should look like a summer cookout, right? So let's do this. We're gonna slide. Do you know what this is? This is really awkward for me. You know what? I'm not using this. It's massive. I think we get the point when I use a small fork too, don't we? Okay, so we're gonna cut again against the grain, and you cut it nice and thin, okay? Oh, that's nice. And really, when it comes to proteins on the barbecue, I go by feel. I don't go by timing, because all cuts of meat are different in their thickness, right? So I go by, this might be too well done for some people, but it's okay for me, because in the middle, it's quite thick. So you'll see it starts to pinken up as we go. But if you feel your meat in the middle, or it's thick, in its thicker part, and it starts to feel like the membranes, because that's what it's doing, is it's cooking, it's tightening. So you go by the tightness. So I always press down in the middle, not enough to squish out the juices, because you want to keep the juice in the meat. So I just press down on it to feel. You have to get used to it. It's an experience kind of thing, and to know how you like it. So that's how a lot of cooks will do it too, right? They use a tool and they press down in the thickest parts to know whether it's well done, whether it's medium rare, etc. So you cook it to your liking. I could eat steak pretty much anyway. And as I mentioned, this for a lot of people would probably be a bit too overdone, but let's do this anyway. We are going to slide some of this beautiful cut meat onto our plate. So can you see that? So that's just some cuts of steak there. And then I'm also going to include some cuts of chicken. So same thing, I'm going to go in, and I'm just, chicken's chicken. You don't need to cut it against any grains, etc. Just, I cut it nice, you know, just so that it has a nice look when you put it on a serving plate. And then you just slide your knife underneath so that it all stays intact, and slide it off. So it's kind of a little bit of a meat plate there. I'm also going to include a couple of my veggies. So if you're serving this for people, you can see what it looks like. So here we go. We've got a platter of different cut meats. And then all we do here is you take your chimichurri sauce, and you can either put it in another side dish and serve it on the side, and people can serve themselves. You can have it on the side and just kind of dip your meats in, or you can do as I like to do, because again, it's about the color, and I love this sauce. So I like to go in over top of the meat and drizzle some of this right down the center, making sure I get all the oils. And again, you take this out of the fridge like a couple hours after making, so that all these flavors meld together. But what a beautiful, gorgeous summer cookout dish. It's a great way to use your barbecue. It's a great way to celebrate summer tastes and flavors. And it is a beautiful, beautiful, it's gonna drip because it's all these oils. It is literally a very fresh, summery, my favorite way to barbecue. And the beauty of this is that you have leftovers, and it's such a great leftover dish. All these extra veggies will give you some lunch. Throw some rice on the side of this, and you've got yourself an amazing dinner. Hope that you guys try this chimichurri sauce. Hope that you try some of our other barbecued or grilled or cookout recipes that are coming your way. Chris is up next week at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Again, this is the Great Summer Cookout Series. My name is Melissa Sousa, and thank you for joining us today. Have a great afternoon. Bye.